let's kick it off and talk about NXT Takeover in Your House, which aired this past weekend. We saw a lot of good matches, and we saw a lot of weird matches and weird finishes to matches that a lot of people disagreed on. But just overall impressions of the show and, what you've heard and what you kind of thought about this. Because a lot of people thought this might have been one of the, weaker takeover shows we've seen.
So I was kind of looking forward to it, to be honest, because the last In Your House I thought was really good, which they did last year. But so like I said to you earlier, I didn't see every match, but what I didn't watch, I saw the replays. It was decent. I will say it was kind of weak, and I guess the best word for it was weird. I kind of totally agree with that. It was kind of weird for some reason. I don't know why. It just had a weird air about it,
Yeah, and a lot of people pointed to maybe the crowd in the Capitol Wrestling Center maybe was a little off. Maybe there was not enough energy. Maybe it would have behooved them to pipe in some crowd noise, because there was times on the show where there was some dead air. Like where you just heard nothing. You could hear a rat piss on cotton, as Ray Lewis would say, right? So there was that. It was an issue, I think, for a little bit. On top of that, I think the other issue we saw was, the finishes, the matches just seemed to be very standard as far as NXT goes. NXT, we're used to seeing not no holds barred, but these amazing matches and spectacles. But it was a good show. It was a fine show. It was a fine wrestling show. It's just not to the standard of, I think, a lot of NXT shows that we've seen in the past, especially takeovers.
I feel like it was kind of just put together. It wasn't much plan put into it. You know what I mean? I feel like it was kind of rushed.
Yeah, I think that's what I felt too. But one match that I think everyone agreed might have been and probably is match of the night was the first match on the card, which was for both the NXT Tag Team and North American Championships. It was a very good match, a very good opening match, especially. It could have been the main event, and I think it would have been great. But Bronson Reed, the NXT North American Champion, and MSK, who were the Tag Team Champions, defeated all three members of Legado del Fantasma in a 6-man match for a winner-take-all for both of the championships that were on the line. There were a lot of great moves in this match. The exhibition, this was a spectacle in itself. As I said, Bronson Reed and MSK retained both their titles, but a lot of people thought this was the time to put Legado del Fantasma over, especially considering they really came to prominence last year. I think that's a big gripe that people have with this match specifically, maybe the outcome, but I thought it was great. The end, we saw MSK member pin, I believe it was Mendoza for the 1-2-3 after Bronson Reed just destroyed the barricade on the outside, and along with it, Santos Escobar. But I thought it was a good match, probably the best match on this card by far, and I again, no qualms really. I think it would have been a good time to have a title change, especially considering we really didn't expect many titles to change on this card. Not the women's championship, not the world championship. So it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, it was probably the best match on the card. The premise of it, winner take all, was what intrigued me, to be honest with you, because I don't think I've ever seen a match quite like that.
Really? You've never seen a winner-take-all match in WWE before?
No,
it's not like they haven't done 7 since the Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey.
I'm talking about that, where you have a tag team and you have a championship. I've seen winner-take-all matches, of course, but I've never seen it set up quite like that, a tag team style match.
Fair enough. The next match we saw was Xia Li defeated Mercedes Martinez in a pretty quick match by pinfall. And it was a lot of people didn't see this finish coming, especially this quickly. I know I was surprised at it. Xia Li hit her move, 1, 2, 3, and then we saw Mei Ying come out and do a weird choke on Mercedes Martinez and basically knock her out, throw her off the ramp. But this was an underwhelming match. It's not up to the par, I think, that these two women can go, because these are two people that are amazing athletes, and again, I was expecting more from it.
I was expecting more from it, but you know what? I kind of think a smash match like that was kind of good for the women's division, kind of sort of, because you don't see too many matches like that in NXT go that quickly as far as women's concerned. So I think it was a good match showing Xia Li's dominance, honestly, against a worthy opponent in Mercedes Martinez.
That's not my and I agree, and I think it's good that they're having women's feuds that aren't about the title. I think that's what
Right,
a lot of people
right.
are have been clamoring for. Like we're gonna talk about equality, women's equality in wrestling later on after some comments by Triple H earlier this week, but. I think this is a good step for that, and yeah, sure. Do I like the fact that they're trying? Yeah, but this should have been a lot more successful than it was. Like this wasn't good. Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't good even by I think NXT standards. But again, it's all subjective, right? Next, we saw LA Knight and Cameron Grimes competing in a ladder match for the $1 Million Championship. I love LA Knight. I make no bones about it. LA Knight is the future of the WWE and NXT. He defeated Cameron Grimes in one hell of a ladder match, man. Some of the bumps that Grimes took in this match, I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" He took bumps, he took like straight up bumps on his back with the side of the ladder pointing up. Like that is insane. He took a great bump off one ladder onto a bridge, and then LA Knight was able to climb and capture the $1 Million Championship belt, which apparently is a belt now in NXT. But I think there's nobody better than LA Knight to have that title. There's nobody better to represent that $1 Million Man brand than LA Knight, because he's a heel. He embodies it, and it gives him, I think, something to work off of, something he didn't have before. And, I think this can lead to him eventually becoming bigger.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like LA Knight as well. He just oozes like assholeism, and I love the persona.
He oozes asshole?
Not out of his asshole, but and demonetized. But but no, he's a perfect heel. Perfect heel. Love LA Knight. And a lot of people forget how well Cameron Grimes can actually work, because you don't get a chance to see it so much. But that was a great match. That was a very fun match, very good match. I thought he took a lot of bumps. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch Mago.
You were waiting for that, weren't you?
I got to do my JBL impersonation every week. But yeah, no, it was for me. It was this match and the Bronson Reed match. Like those were the best matches. Everything else kind of fell flat, to be honest, for me, including the main events. Let's get to one of those right now. Raquel González. She successfully defended her NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon. There was talk that Ember Moon might be able to recapture some of the energy she had during her first run in NXT and win the NXT Women's Championship this time around. That did not happen. Raquel González retained. We saw the return of Chauncey Blackheart. That wasn't enough, however. And so this was part of the pay-per-view where my feed just cut out.
Right.
And I think it was my internet that was a problem that night. That's why I had streaming problems on this channel too. But I've gone back and seen the match, and it was a fine match. Again, it was a fine match. I just think Raquel González looked dominant in it. I thought there were a lot of points where she was obviously the one that WWE wanted to highlight in this. Not saying Ember Moon didn't showcase her skills. We already know what Ember Moon can do, but. It was a good showcase match for Raquel González, and going off of that, I think a lot of people did think though, why isn't Ember Moon maybe getting in more offense? I think that was coming out of it the biggest thing. So give me your thoughts on this finish.
So, again, I understand how when it comes to certain matches, especially when it comes to higher tier wrestlers, you got to make champions look a little dominant, things like that. And also, if since she is a heel, every winner isn't going to be clean. But I feel like Amber, like you said, Amber should be getting more, in a little more anyway because, well, I mean, you brought her over there to pretty much showcase her a little more because she's a big fish a little fish in a big pond over in Raw. Now she's a big fish in a little pond that she helped build a brand over it before. So you would think she'd be a little more over, kind of like Finn Balor. But
that's exactly what I like the comparison I was gonna draw. I was like, what they did with Finn Balor for the NXT title picture, they should, I think, do with Ember Moon, because Finn Balor now, he like he's a star. He is he's a bona fide star again, because what have we seen? We've seen him actually win matches, which we didn't really see regularly on Raw, and people forget who was the first ever Universal Champion ever. It was Finn Balor. So, but people don't remember that because Finn Balor, at that time, before he came back to NXT in 2019, he wasn't the same person that he was when he came up to the main roster. He wasn't the same person that he is now. So,
exactly.
Just to finish up, I think if they do the same thing with Ember Moon, it's going to yield very similar results. And that's a good thing for NXT. It's a good thing for wrestling. It's a good thing for WWE because, let's be honest, NXT is really where all the stars are being made in WWE. We're not seeing a lot of stars being made on Raw. We're not seeing a lot of stars other than Roman Reigns, who's been there for 6, 7, 8 years, over a decade on the main roster. And he just became what everyone wanted. He just started clicking with the fans after all this time. So so the main roster doesn't make people like they used to, or as well as NXT. So I think NXT needs to do that same thing with Ember Moon for her to be successful in WWE.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Let's get to the main event of this, which honestly had me a little perplexed, but
yeah.
So Karrion Kross defeated Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne in a fatal 5-way match for the NXT Championship by technical submission. Kyle O'Reilly there took the submission loss there. But we saw in this match, it's weird because usually when you do this kind of match, right, you do a fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way, it's kind of like, okay, even if we know the champion's going to win. But one thing we know coming into it and going out of it is hopefully coming out of it, you have some fresh new feuds you can do. One thing I was like, okay, hypothetically, what WWE could have done. Kyle O'Reilly and Johnny Gargano getting into it, and then that could throughout the match and teasing that for the future, or or maybe Pete Dunne having the victory in his hands, and then Adam Cole comes in there and ruins it, things like that. Things that create fresh matchups, things that create fresh feuds that you can go directly out of this match and just go into that, and there's no need for a transition. That this match did not accomplish any of that.
Yeah.
What this did accomplish, and again, it's what they're going for probably, is Karrion Kross looked like a dominant champion, the most dominant champion ever, because anytime he was in the ring, he literally killed all 4 of the other guys. Every time, by himself, he would just go, meow, 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 like Hogan in WCW 94, just meow, punch, back rake, oh, thank you, just destroying people. And who got over? What are we doing after this? Because Karrion Kross just looks like an unbeatable champion, and there's really nowhere to go from here. And I think that's another issue people have with this. And no one's expecting the title to change hands. You can't do that every show. That's one of the things we like about NXT. But it's like they didn't. I just think they didn't do enough with what we were given. It was a good match. It was a good match. But at no point did I think the championship was in peril. At no point did I think. Or did I feel like we were getting something fresh and new after it? It was just like it happened, and that's not a good sign, I think, for NXT.
I was confused. So I go up and back and forth with Karrion Kross. I like Karrion Kross. I do. I liked him before he got to NXT, but my problem is this: you bring him over to NXT, and at the time you had possibly one of the most dominant champions in Keith Lee, right?
Mm.
And Keith Lee won both belts, whatever. You were building Keith Lee, you were making him this superstar. Okay, cool. You then make a quick feud. It was a quick feud. I think Karrion Kross had maybe 2 matches in NXT before he feuded with Keith Lee. If you make a quick feud with Keith Lee, then you have him dominate someone who has dominated pretty much the whole division. Drajakovic, Dream, like even Adam Cole, like, who was a dominant champion. You had Keith Lee do all that. Keith Lee held that belt maybe a few months, and then you let him drop it to Karrion Kross. And I'm still wondering why. I mean, it just so happens he got hurt and had to give it up, but I'm still wondering why. And then you give him a few more matches, he comes back, and you have Finn Balor, who, again, dominant champion. You know, he comes back with the belt, having great championship matches, by the way. And then you let him get dominated by Karrion Kross, not once, but twice. And again, not knocking it, because it's cool that he is champion. It's fine, but like you said, they're marketing him a lot like Goldberg back when Goldberg first came out. Like he's unbeatable, he can't be beaten, whatever. And again, it makes it boring. It makes it lackluster. Like, I honestly don't care to watch championship matches anymore because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I like the point you made. Like, we know the championship is likely not in peril right now,
Right.
and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. Like for how much people like to say we love AEW, the Kenny Omega, we know he's not going to lose to Jungle Boy in 2 weeks. We know that's not going to happen. We know he's not going to lose the title to Jungle Boy. It doesn't matter, though. It's not the point. It's about what happens after. It's about how they follow up on what happened. And look, NXT's doing their show right now. After this, we'll probably check it out and see what happens. But at the same time, nothing coming out of this match, nothing during the match showed me that there was like a follow-up feuds that were coming out of here, which I think you need to do to kind of take away from the fact that the championship was never in peril. And, you know, it's just... Again, it's just one of those. That's an easy thing in wrestling. I'm not a booker. And you don't have to be a booker to know this kind of stuff. It's not. As someone who watches wrestling, it's pretty easy to be like, well, I know nothing's gonna really change, but what if we had something coming out of this? What if we had Adam Cole and like Pete Dunne feud, or Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, or Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano, things a fresh matchup coming out of it. There was
things that you could have
to distract us from that, to make us focus on that. Make that be the focus coming out and be like, oh my God, we're getting this cool matchup. Instead, with the only thing they even hinted at in this match was another thing between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, for Adam Cole O'Reilly like 18 in the past 4 months.
Right.
I'm like, and again, it's like I said, it was a fine show. This is like, I enjoyed this much like I've been enjoying a lot of WWE pay-per-views lately. Short, like action-packed matches, or short pay-per-views, action-packed, and easy to watch. That's what it was. And it's fine, but with the NXT standard that has been set, it did fall below that standard, in my opinion.
I totally agree. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I feel like they dropped the ball. And also, I feel like it was too much of a good thing. It was too many superstars in one ring.
Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.